Hey guys, this is Den with D2 Destinations. As you may have heard, Tampa had quite a couple of weeks. First with Hurricane Helene, and most recently with Milton. And the storm surge was predicted to be 15 feet, which is not good. Not good at all for our area. So I took my bike and I stored it over at a friend's house because their garage is significantly higher than ours is. So it's been a heck of a couple of weeks here in Tampa, but things are slightly coming back to normal, and we are going to head on home and talk about some of the things that have been going on around here. So the storm Milton that came through, it was a Cat 3 hurricane when it made landfall just south of the Tampa Bay area, but initial indications were that it was going to come right into Tampa. And of course that storm surge would have been just horrific. They were saying upwards of 15 feet of storm surge. Now 15 feet of storm surge is just way too much for the area that we live in. We're in Zone A, so we had a mandatory evacuation. Had the storm surge come up to 15 feet, we probably would have had 5 feet of water in the garage, and that would have flooded the bike out. And initially I was covering it up, wrapping it, and then I thought we better take the bike to higher ground. So our friends were gracious enough to let us go ahead and park the bike over there, and that really saved us. But it could have been a lot worse. We were able to evacuate to an extremely well-built condominium in downtown Tampa, and I'll put some video up right now on the winds as they were coming through. We were on the 5th floor of the condo where we were staying, but there was a clubhouse up on the 8th floor that has very tall windows. They're all hurricane proof to the highest grade, I'm told, so we felt relatively safe there. But when the wind shifted and started coming in from the north, the wind just started howling through those windows. And we retreated down to the 5th floor, where it was much quieter because the windows are significantly smaller in the individual units themselves than the big clubhouse windows. And there was a lot of damage to fences and roofs and trees, and the power was out for several days in some circumstances. My daughter's power is still out as we speak, but hopefully it's going to be restored. And a lot of these intersections, the streetlights were out, so it was incredibly dangerous to drive, because some people don't know, when the streetlights are out, it's a 4-way stop. I mean, you need to stop to make sure nothing else is coming and take turns, just like it were a 4-way stop sign. But people don't know that, I guess, so they tend to just go where they want, when they want. So I've waited a couple days now to pick up the bike for that specific reason. It should be a little safer going home today. And initially the streets were still flooded, and the area was just full of trees down and just not conducive to riding the Goldwing. So the crews have been out cleaning up everywhere and getting most of the major roadways cleared of debris. You can see there are still people cleaning up. There are still homes and businesses that are boarded up and will be for a little while, because it's going to take a lot of work. But here's one that's still out. This street light is still out, and they've put up these stop signs, which is good. And I'm gonna go when this truck next to me goes. I think that would be the best idea. Wait for this guy right here. And now we should be clear to go. All right, and then a block over, we've got a light that's working. Just incredible how the grid is set up, where some places you have power, some places you still do not. There were a lot of people for several days with no power whatsoever. But it's good to see that these crews are still coming through the area and maintaining the roads, and it's just been very, very helpful. But now it's time to get this bike home, back safe in her own garage. And here's one of the local restaurants, the Blind Goat. They're up and running, and looks like they've got a full crowd today because they actually have had power and the football games are on. Now here we go, here's another intersection. There is a no stoplight in operation. So we're gonna do a complete stop here and go. Those guys are going straight. I'm gonna follow this car as a blocker. This street coming up here was totally flooded. It has since drained away, but it's just a it has been a really bad several weeks here in the Tampa Bay area. First we had Helene come through, and Helene was the really bad one because Helene had the storm surge, and in our neighborhood that storm surge came up to 7.2 feet, and a lot of our neighbors and friends were flooded, and they immediately started cutting the drywall out of all of the rooms of the house, getting it out to the curb. Any of the furniture, anything else had to totally be removed for remediation, and it has just been a mess ever since Helene went through. Now once Helene cleared out, we started recovering with that whole process, and then after that, it wasn't even a week or so later, Milton came through. Milton was a different storm than Helene. Helene was a monster storm that went straight up the west coast of Florida, past Tampa to the Panhandle. But the storm surge was the major problem, not the wind with Helene. And the storm surge out at the beaches, we have friends that their places were just totally flooded, full of sand, you know, up to 6 to 8 feet of water inside the properties. If you can imagine 8 feet of water being in your kitchen right now, I mean, that's just horrible. So everybody was recovering from that when Milton appeared on the scene. And Milton was totally different. Milton grew into a Cat 5 monster headed straight towards Tampa. I'm gonna follow this truck through. And with that storm, it had incredible winds, but as it eventually made landfall, it went down from a Cat 5 to a Cat 3. And it turned its track, fortunately, just south of Tampa Bay. Had it entered at or above Tampa Bay, our home would have been under, probably 5 to 6 feet of water. Under a lot of water, I should say. So the problem with the storm going to the south of you, though, is the storm surge is not a factor. But what is a factor are the winds. And we had winds gusting up to over 100 miles an hour here in the Tampa Bay area. And it's a good thing we were in that condo that's built like a vault out of concrete and the best steel rebarb and hurricane windows you can have in a construction, and it withstood the fury of Milton, fortunately. But the wind from Milton created a lot of trees down, trees on houses, and roofs blown off, and shingles blown off, and fences blown down, and the place just looked like a war zone. So, you know, if you live in the Tampa Bay area, I've been here 31 years. We've never seen anything like this, and hopefully we never will again for a very, very long time. But just a couple weeks stretch, and the devastation that came through between two different storms and two different threats: storm surge and wind damage. That's the difference between the storm just riding up the coast and coming inland right across your town. So we're glad that everybody is relatively safe. A few people did pass in some of the other areas, unfortunately. It's just been a horrific couple of weeks, and we're hoping that we don't see another one like that for a very long time. This is Den with D2 Destinations. Thanks for riding along today. There's your update on Tampa Bay, and next time we'll be out for a better ride, hopefully with all the street lights working and everything else. So thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you next time. Take care. Please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.